Hello and welcome to Hofstra University's James M. Stewart Stadium, home of the Hofstra Lacrosse. Tonight, the women's pride team will face the Towson Tigers, who are ranked number 18 in the country and sitting at 9-2. Before we get in, my name is Devin Martin, alongside me is Nick Ferrier. And before we get into this matchup, first, Nick, let's talk about what happened last game when they played against the James Madison Dukes. They lost 20-8, a really, really bad loss where across the board, whether in terms of shots, turnovers, draw controls, everything. The Dukes just beat the Pride.
Absolutely, and beat, I think, is a very passive word. This was an absolute demolition. 20-8 the final score. They were outshot 31-18. They turned the ball over 16 times. Any way you look at it, it was just a very, very poor game. I mean, the goalie for Hofstra, Madison Fields, she was 2 for 22 on saves. Even if you're a good defensive team and your goalie is less than 10% on save opportunities, you're not going to win that ball game.
Right.
And going into this game, they have to play a lot better, offensively, defensively, and in goaltending, if they have any chance of making it a close game with this Towson team.
As you mentioned, in terms of just pure offense, where Lindsay Scott, she had 6 goals last game. So that's something that you can look forward to in tonight's game, where she can be someone that you can rely upon in terms of just carrying the load. But as you said, it's a whole all-around effort, and one thing, just a balance effort offensively, where more people have to step up. Welcome back to Hofstra University's James M. Stewart Stadium. I'm Devin Martin here with Nicholas Ferrier. The score of this lacrosse game, the Towson Tigers are leading 2-0 over your Hofstra Pride. And Nick, really, for this first half, really, it's really been in the Tigers' favor, where the Tigers have had more shots on goals, less turnovers, and they've had the ball basically for 21 minutes compared to only 9 for the Pride. Nick, but the score, before we even get to that, the score is only 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nick, do you think that the fact that the Tigers are leading in different categories, but the score is really close, do you think that it spells doom for the Pride if this continues?
It's almost incomprehensible, the fact that Hofstra is in this game only down 2-0, and yet they're being outshot 17-2, and the time in possession is 21-9. They're getting dominated just based off of statistics alone, and yet they're only down 2-0. I make the analogy of it's like chopping down a tree. Sooner or later, one of these blows from the Towson Tigers is going to open up the floodgates, and this is going to become a blowout if Hofstra's offense does not pick it up. And that goes for Lindsay Scott. That goes for Lexi Lanigan. All of these players have to step up.
Right, and so as you say before, as we get to the start of the second half of this game, where the Towson Tigers really are just been dominating with their defense, while the Pride have just come off short on offense.
Absolutely.
And so now it looks like the Pride are just about to warm up and go for the first draw control, and so now the Pride are looking to make sure that they can overcome this 2-0 deficit against the Towson Tigers, as the look to line up. I believe that is number 1. And now the first goal for the Hofstra Pride. That's number 22, Lexi Lanigan. They threw it right to her. She throws it right towards the back of the net, right past Angie Benson. The score is 2-1 with 17:16 left in the second half. The Towson Tigers still leading the Hofstra Pride.
And you're seeing, we talked about in the first half, Hofstra looked timid offensively. But right away, they had a player on the crease. You had Scott in front of the crease. She cut out, and as soon as she cut out, Lanigan came from behind the crease for that secondary cut. The first cut isn't always the cut that's open. It's the second one. And that's the clearest picture you could see offensively. Great ball movement there by the Pride, and it calculated into their first goal of the game.
And that's Lexi Lanigan's 11th goal of the season. As you say, Carly Ancona with the assist, a nice find on that second cut. That's something you've been saying all day, and it capitalizes. Now, with only 17 minutes left to go in the second half, the score is still 2-1. So this is a very, very close game. It's been a complete 180. So now the defense has still been strong for the Pride, but now the offense, they finally got their first goal. They took away that goal for Drew Shapiro. So if it wasn't for that, the score would actually be 2-2.
Yeah.
It would be 2-2 right now.
Listen,
but now this has been a complete 180 to the Pride. The offense in the first half looked timid. The defense by the Towson Tigers looked dominating everything. Now, I'm not going to say that Towson Tigers defense looks timid, but they look on the defensive. Yeah, their offense does. And now the Hofstra Pride's offense looks like they're dominating. As the game is over, the score is now 9-3 in favor of the Towson Tigers. The Tigers move to 10-2 on the season. The Pride fall to 3-9. It was just about, just as we said, effort level. Effort level, effort level, effort level. The effort for the Hofstra offense was lacking in the first half, and that came to bite them. And they made a huge effort jump in the second half, but it just wasn't enough. As all the major stats as we listed during the halftime, shots on goal, shots, turnovers, just wins and draw controls, caused turnovers, all those favor the Tigers during the halftime. And as the game ends, all those favor, besides cause turnovers, favor the Tigers again. And as you say, the score was only 2-0.
Exactly.
So it's not like that they didn't show up to play and they were getting blown out from the very beginning. It was a good 40, 45 minutes where the game was close. It was in 2 to 3 goals. But as soon as the momentum changed, it went in favor of the Tigers. So that's it for Hofstra Pride, the lacrosse game, where I'm Devin Martin. This is Nicholas Faria. The score in favor of the Towson Tigers, 9-3. Your women Pride lacrosse team, they fall to 3-9 on the season. The Tigers move to 10-2. That's it for me and Nick. Have a good night. Hello and welcome to James N. Stewart Stadium, home of your Hofstra Pride women's lacrosse team. I'm Devin Martin. This is Connor Gable alongside of me as we look to showcase a game between the Hofstra Pride and the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens, where Connor, the Pride are just coming off a huge loss right now against the Towson Tigers, where they lost 9-3. The Tigers are ranked 18 in the nation. The Pride just really fought hard and fought very resiliently for the whole game. But as the game winded down, it was just a loss at the end of the day for them.
You know what, Devin? The score doesn't really indicate just how close of a game that was. 9-3, but it was a very close game for about 45 minutes or so. You take a look at the first half, it was only 2-0 in favor of the Tigers. So Hofstra did a very nice job defensively. Only 2 goals for Towson out of the 17 shots that the Pride defense faced. The only problem was the Pride just didn't have any offense going for them in that game, and because of it, they weren't able to push close enough where it was 4-2 with about 10 minutes left, and that's when Towson started picking up the pace. Caitlin Montalbano, she finishes with 3 goals, as well as Samantha Brookhart. She chips in with 3 assists. So it was a nice effort, but it just wasn't enough to take down a team that should have really blown out the Hofstra Pride, but the Pride did a nice job of staying in.
Right, and as you say, I actually was on call for that game, and me and my color commentator at the time, Nicholas Ferry, we were discussing that the biggest thing for the Pride was to make sure that their defense was staying strong and making sure that they did not have any slip-ups or have any a lot of forced turnovers or anything that for the offense. But as you say, it was just I feel it was a tale of 2 halves, where in the first half the defense was strong, but the offense was very, very weak. And then once the game started to get down to the wire, the offense did score a couple of goals, but it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, the Tigers did a nice job of shutting down Hofstra's perennial scores. Lindsay Scott only has 1 goal, which she gets off a free position shot, and then Drew Shapiro and Lexi Lanahan chip in with the rest of the goals as well. But we've kind of seen that story where it's those same 3 players chipping in with the offense. Lindsay Scott, of course, having an unbelievable year, leading the CAA with 42 goals, and then you have Shapiro, who's really come on in her sophomore year. Lanahan stepping up nicely as a rookie, but other than that, there just really isn't much offense for this Hofstra Pride, and we kind of saw in that game against the Tigers, if you shut down those 3 players, the Pride can't really get anything else much done.
Right, and so as we look forward to today's game against the Fighting Blueheads, those 3 players are going to have to be key for them to come out with this victory. I'm with Devin Martin alongside Connor Giblin, where today the Pride look to get their 2nd win in the conference. Lanahan scores with a nice crease roll and the spin dodge. It's already 4 goals in the first half with 19:02 to go in the half. Back in this halftime of the CAA matchup between the Hofstra Pride and the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens, I'm Devin Martin. Alongside me is Connor Giblin. Connor, really, it's just been, I guess, not a tale of halves, but really just a tale of like 10 to 15 minutes as the first 15 to 20 minutes, really, the Pride were in control of this game. But as soon as about 7 minutes left to go in the game, the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens just scored 4 straight goals and made this a really close game. So far, and speaking of their draw controls, The Delaware Fighting Blue Hens have won 7 draw controls, while the Pride have only won 6. And so even though that discrepancy isn't that big, it's in terms of the momentum swinging favor of the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens and the Pride, where those draw controls, as you say, have really been they really came at a good time for the Fighting Blue Hens, as once they won about 2 to 3 successive draw controls in a row, they were able to get 4 of those goals with only 7 minutes. With only 7 minutes left to go in the first half, they scored those first goals. And really, Connor, I believe in your pregame keys to the game, you were stating how important it was for the Hofstra Pride's offense to be well balanced and the secondary scores of the Pride to score and have an impact on this game. And I'd say they've really done that very well so far. And so far, with about 5 minutes left to go in this half, as we see Alexis Green out there trying to get some extra reps, where she's had 6 saves this first half, but she's allowed 4 goals. Where that'll do it. Let's go to a quick break at your halftime. The score is 7-4 in favor of the Hofstra Pride here at James M. Stewart Stadium. I'm Devin Martin. Alongside me is Connor Gibbon. We'll be back soon with the start of the second half. As another goal is picked up, that is Lexi Lanahan with her goal. I believe that's her 3rd goal of the game. The score is now 11-10 in favor of the Hofstra Pride with 11:26 left to go in the game.
Oh, as you say, Connor, it was just a blowout, really, for the Pride. Where they won 13-3. They were led by Lacey Clark, where she had 7 RBIs, 2 hits. Chloe Fitzgerald, she also had a strong game for the Hofstra offense, and really it was just as you say, they won by 10 runs, and it was just a blowout from starting to finish.
In the 2 odd innings, the Pride just want to really show their potential and really just score all their runs. As this 3rd inning she had, I think that was led by Petra Fessa, where she had a 2-hit RBI, where so far they've really had their way against the Dragons. And with the pitching, it doesn't matter who was out there pitching, whether it was Katie Haley or Tara Konopka. And Konopka has fared a little bit better as she's closed out the 2nd inning with no runs allowed whatsoever. But that third inning was a little bit weak for her. But the Pride really have been able to put their runs on the board and really get on base whenever they really want to. Pride, as you say, they moved to 8-6 in CAA play. That was a great relief by Courtney Scarpato, where she came up and really filled in the role and stepped into Jessica Peslak, who was really playing very well. She gave up that first 2 runs in the first inning, and then she closed out the rest of the game for the Dragons before Scarpato came in and showed that she could get her 8th save on this season without letting out 1 single run for the Hofstra Pride. And it was just more than just a solid performance. It was expected. They were supposed to sweep this series, and they did it in a stunning fashion, winning each of the games, only allowing 3 runs in the first 2 games and only allowing 2 runs in this game. So it was just a phenomenal effort on both sides, where it was the offense, the hitting, and the outfielding and the infielding, where it was, and the pitching, all around tremendous effort for the